Everyone watching right now, if you follow this one piece of advice, you will get more out of all your practicing and advance faster than you ever thought possible, but you have to be disciplined. Hey everybody, Jay Metcalf here with another episode of the BetterSax Studio. This is where I watch your videos of you playing the saxophone that you've sent to me and critique you, give you some tips and suggestions on how to improve your playing. Since all developing saxophone players are pretty much dealing with the same issues and problems, this should be really helpful for everyone watching. This is exactly the sort of thing that you would do in a music school. You would play for your peers and then get critical feedback from everyone and your teacher. Thanks to YouTube, now we can all do this in the comfort of our own homes and for free. Before we begin, I want to let you know that I've got a new course coming out in April. It's all about learning the essential language of the blues to help make your solos sound more interesting and more authentic in all different styles of music. For example, in last week's video about ligatures, I played the solo by David Sanborn from James Taylor's recording of How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You. I'm a little bit disappointed, by the way, that very few people spotted that and pointed it out in the comments. Where are my James Taylor fans out there? But in that solo, Sanborn uses one of the phrases featured in my new course, and he uses it several times. No, that's not a blues tune. So the goal of this course is not just to help you get better at playing solos over the blues, but to help you play better solos in all styles of music by mixing in snippets of this blues language. All of the great improvisers do this, and once you start hearing these little snippets in recorded solos and then make the connection by practicing the bits of language in the way I show you in the course, your playing is going to evolve to an entirely new level, I promise. This process is really the key to playing solos that sound more like what you hear in your head and less like you're just searching for the right notes to play. Now, whenever I release a new course, I like to offer a special bonus to the early birds. So if you're interested, there's a link in the description below where you can request an invite to the pre-release sale. Everyone who purchases the course during this pre-release sale will also get exclusive access to a bonus live lesson about using blues language in your improvisation. Okay, so now let's move on to hearing from you guys. If you want to submit your own video to perhaps get featured on the YouTube channel, there's a link in the description below where you can submit your video and sign up for that. Okay, Henner writes, hello, I'm taking your fundamentals course and I'm a beginner playing since 1 year-ish. So I have one basic question. I always get pain in my left wrist on the bottom small finger side after playing around 20 minutes, especially when blowing the low B flat. Okay, hey, Henner, this is a very good question. Okay, first of all, it has nothing to do with your brand of saxophone. Since the last 30 or 40 years, all saxophones being made are basically following the same design, especially with the left-hand pinky keys. So they're all going to be more or less the same. So for me, this problem is not so much about the saxophone or how long your arm is or anything like that. It's about playing position. Saxophones are designed to kind of be played off to the side. When playing standing up, most of us choose to play with the instrument straight in front of us, and that can result in having to bend our left wrist. Watch how my wrist moves when playing on alto and tenor. I play with the horn directly in front of me as well, and I probably don't have a perfectly straight wrist when playing low B flat either. I see that you're using the sax holder. Now, if you wanted to kind of correct that hand position and put your tenor sax off to the side, you can't really do that comfortably with that neck strap because it's kind of designed to keep your saxophone in front. So another thing you could try is using a different neck strap that allows you to kind of go off to the side with the horn, which will allow you to straighten out that left wrist. Now, I know neither option is probably ideal, and there's always little compromises that need to be made one way or another. The priority should probably be reducing any kind of pain that you're feeling. So if anything you're doing on the saxophone is hurting you, you need to stop and find a way around that. You might have to make a compromise elsewhere. I suggest that you first check that you're entirely relaxed physically when you go to play that low B flat. Practice in front of the mirror and make sure you're not making any big physical changes when you go to play certain notes, especially the ones like the palm keys and the pinky bell keys that are the ones that give us the most trouble. It's about finding the position that is most comfortable. It's never going to be perfect though. Okay, next up is our friend Mark. Okay, Mark, two good things and then a bunch of things that we want to get to correcting right away. First, I see that you learned that song by ear, you memorized it. Great job on that. And secondly, your rhythm seems pretty steady, so it sounds like you've been practicing with a metronome, and that's good too. Now, we got some big things we need to correct. And this is the sort of stuff that a lot of people are dealing with. A lot of the videos I get, people are doing all of these things. So if you're new to playing saxophone, pay attention. Number one, the tension. Again, in your body, I'm seeing a lot of tension, especially in your hands. You gotta relax. You gotta play in front of the mirror and make sure you are super relaxed in your hands, your wrists, your shoulders, your neck. You need to get yourself as tension-free as possible. So whatever level you're at, you need to constantly be checking yourself for this tension. It's always gonna creep back into your playing if you're not policing it. Number two, this is a big one, the breathing. First of all, you're breathing through your nose. Don't breathe through your nose. When we play saxophone, we gotta breathe through our mouth. The reason we do that is because through the mouth, we can fill up our air tank much quicker. Before you play, you want to have an empty air tank and then fill it up with a breath through your mouth. Always take a breath before you play. The first time you played, you didn't even take a breath. You just started playing and you played a few notes and then you were out of air. So before you start a phrase, you want to have your air tank empty and fill it up just before you play. When you start a new phrase, you want to empty the air tank and fill it up again quickly through your mouth. Okay, number three, and this is a big one that I see all the time with players, you are biting down too hard on the reed. It sounds like you could use a softer reed. That's gonna make it easier to blow. The harder the reed, the more tendency we're gonna have to bite. So soften up the reeds. When you start using your air correctly, it's gonna really help. You want the air to be doing the work. Too often, we are trying to force sound out by biting and squeezing here. We don't want to do that. We want the air. The air is the engine, is the source of power that creates the sound. The embouchure is just a place allowing the reed to vibrate freely. So loosen up on your embouchure, make it more relaxed. Let that reed vibrate and make the air do the work of vibrating the reed. I put links in the description below to other BetterSax videos where I cover all of these things in more detail. Okay, on to our next video submission. This is from Nathan. Okay, Nathan is playing one of the exercises from my pentatonic foundation course. Nathan, I'm very glad you submitted this video because you left in the mistakes or the spots where you didn't play so perfectly, which is good because everyone does that, right? What we see and hear in this video should sound pretty familiar to a lot of you watching, because I'm sure you're also sometimes practicing like that with a lot of mistakes. So Nathan, first of all, you've got a great sound and a very solid embouchure. So great work in those two areas. Let me point out one thing you can do from now on that is going to greatly accelerate your progress in everything you practice on the saxophone from now on. If you're making mistakes when practicing anything technical, scales or patterns or whatever, you are literally training yourself to make mistakes. That's what's going to happen when you go to play things. You're going to make those same mistakes because that's how you practiced it. You'll notice that you're making the same exact mistakes in the same exact spots over and over and over again. So do yourself a big favor and start practicing everything technical at a tempo where you can play with no mistakes, perfect rhythm, concentrate on your sound and your finger position and your posture, staying relaxed. Whatever the tempo that is, however slow it is, that's where you play. That's where you practice. It should be quite slow. Everyone watching right now, if you follow this one piece of advice, you will get more out of all your practicing and advance faster than you ever thought possible, but you have to be disciplined. So please put a speed limit on yourself and then practice even slower. Otherwise, you'll never get rid of the bad habits. For example, when you get up into palm key D and palm key E in that video, your whole body is moving, your shoulder is lifting up. You can play those notes that are slightly awkward without moving your whole body, but you need to isolate those spots and practice them really slowly, giving yourself the time to focus on your hand position and your posture and staying relaxed. And another critique, this is something that a lot of people do, you have a nice vibrato, but I hear you're playing these technical exercises and you're putting the vibrato in as well at the end of the phrases on the longer held out notes. Things like articulation and vibrato should be added intentionally in order to serve the music that you're playing. You don't want them to be on automatic pilot and just always there. So get in the habit of playing with a real simple, basic sound with very little articulation and embellishments like vibrato when you're practicing technical stuff. Okay, that's all the time we have for today. I'm going to leave you with an excerpt from the blues language course coming out next month. If you're interested, click the link in the description below to request your invite to the pre-release sale. Anyone who purchases during that pre-release sale will also get access to a bonus live lesson about blues language. If you like this video and like this sort of content, be sure to click the thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed, get yourself subscribed and click the bell icon to get notifications when new videos get uploaded. Thank you for watching as always, and see you again soon in another BetterSax video.